like it is 5 o'clock. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you to everybody who has joined us this week for the Women's Future Leadership Academy. Again, I see some new faces and some returning students. We are all very glad you're here. And today's going to be a really great session. We've got a fantastic student alumni speaker who's going to join us and some great volunteers. So we're all very, very glad that you're here. Just important to note, this session is being recorded. There are a lot of students who are not available at this time for one reason or another. And so we record these sessions and make them available for students to view afterwards. So although we have a small group today, we will reach a larger audience later. And we thank you all for your participation in our session today. So before we begin, we'd like to just give a quick shout out to all of our event sponsors. Again, these are the companies that have provided support to the Women's Future Leadership Academy that allow us to provide this program every week to students at no cost to you or to your school. So huge thanks to our program sponsors: MetLife, Sanofi, CDW, Church and Dwight, CNBC, EY, Carney Bank, Merck, New Jersey Resources, Prudential, PSE&G, Valley Bank, and Wells Fargo. And we'd also like to thank our companies who have provided volunteers today as well. So a little bit of today's agenda. We're going to go over a little bit of an overview of some things involving the Women's Future Leadership Academy and how you can get more involved. We have a great featured speaker, our student alumni, Dylan, who's going to talk a little bit about what she's doing in order to achieve her goals. Then we're going to be talking about setting and achieving goals, what that looks like, a little bit of a conversation around breaking down your goals into smaller steps and getting out of your comfort zone. Then around 5:30, we're going to move to collaborative breakout rooms where you'll have a chance to talk to some of our mentors who have joined us today in collaborative mentoring circles. And then we'll come back together for some closing remarks. And again, please feel free, students, to use that chat feature if you'd like. Our volunteers who are joining us, please feel free, if you see a student question in the chat room, you can go ahead and answer it right there in that chat room before we go into our breakout rooms. In addition to our great programs that we have here every week, there are opportunities for you to get more involved with Junior Achievement and the Women's Future Leadership Academy. First, you can earn Junior Achievement of New Jersey's digital badge for career readiness. Many of you who participated last year earned your certificate of leadership. This year, we are offering something in addition to that, our digital badge for career readiness. To earn it is very simple. All you have to do is attend 5 or more sessions, complete a survey, and submit a final project. You can find the details to that. They are posted now on our webpage. Thank you for your patience with that. But you can find all the information about that digital badge and how to earn it right there on our webpage, janjacademy.org. Or you can always reach out to me individually and I'll send you the information. So we would really like all of you to earn that digital badge for career readiness. It's a great micro-credential that you can put on your resume, on your LinkedIn profile, on your college applications. It's a great thing to have. Also, you can become a Women's Future Leadership Academy student ambassador. We have several of our student ambassadors who have joined this week. I see your name. It's easy to become a student ambassador, and when we hope that you participate. And again, details are on our program website, janjacademy.org. So please feel free to visit our website and get all those great details. Volunteers too. If you'd like to get more information as a volunteer, you can visit that website. There are resources for you there as well. Upcoming sessions, we have a great schedule plan with some great speakers and mentors. Next week, professional business communication. You'll be learning all about some of those techniques in order to speak professionally in a business setting. On November 3rd, we have our very first executive career panel of the year. Our executive career panels are exciting because we bring together some of New Jersey's top women leaders for a really great discussion about leadership, about overcoming obstacles, and we'll get some really fantastic career advice from those women. You'll have a chance to ask questions in the chat room or live when we have a Q&A session afterwards. Then on November 5th, most schools are closed that day. So this is an opportunity for you to participate in the Women's Future Leadership Academy If you are home from school that day and want something to do, want to build your leadership skills, we're having a special career workshop with our partners EY, that's Ernst & Young. You can get information on that right there on the website. Hope you join us for that. 11:10, we have Networking with Confidence. November 17th, Leading with Innovation. That's going to be a really great session where you'll get to learn how to think creatively to solve problems. On December 1st, we have Women in STEM, talking about how to have a growth mindset. So whether you're interested in a STEM career or not, it's always great to develop that growth mindset. So we're going to be talking about that. On December 8th, we're going to have our second executive career panel, again, with a different group of fantastic women that are really great to hear from, that have great stories. So please join us then. And then we will finish out 2021 with a session on financial empowerment on December 15th. So our Santander folks who have joined, put that on your calendar. We'd love to have you join us as mentors for that session on December 15th. And then, of course, we are going to continue in January of 2022 with all new sessions. So please feel free to continue to participate in the Women's Future Leadership Academy. Just so you know, students, you don't have to attend all of the sessions. We make it flexible for you because we know you have busy schedules. So please feel free to register for a session and join us as your schedule allows. And again, you can always view the recorded sessions on our YouTube channel. You'll see a link to that right there on our website, janjacademy.org. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about goal setting and how it's important to set your goals if you want to be a leader. So being a leader is about having a vision for change. We've all looked at what's going on. We've all looked at our futures and say, you know what? I really want to make a difference. I really want to make some change, not just in our communities or in the world, but also in our own lives. And it's really important to encourage ourselves to work hard to bring that vision to life, whether it be for something bigger or within ourselves. And by setting goals for ourselves with a timeline and steps to get there, we get closer to creating the change that we want. Goal setting is an important life and leadership skill. If you look at all the top leaders, they've all perfected the art of setting goals, whether they be short-term goals or long-term goals for themselves or for their organization. And when you know how to set goals, you get much closer to making them a reality. So before we go into any more about goal setting for ourselves, I would like to introduce our student speaker. So Dylan Nally is a student from High Tech High School. I recently stumbled across her in the news as she earned a very great honor from the New Jersey School Boards Association for being a student hero. So I'd like to congratulate you, Dylan, on that. And Dylan was a participant in our Women's Future Leadership Academy last year. She submitted a final project as part of her certificate of leadership, and she actually created a storyboard, which I thought was fascinating. So I remember Dylan's project when I saw her in the news. And so I reached out, and Dylan was so kind to say yes. And so we're very happy to have her joining us today from her community in Hudson County. So Dylan, welcome. And if you wouldn't mind just telling us a little bit about your storyboard and what that meant to you, and any thoughts you have around creating our students can create their own storyboard and what that means as far as goal setting.
Yeah, totally. So last year for my project, like you said, I created a vision board for just anything that you want to set a goal for. It's like a really important goal setting tool, like you said, of just envisioning change. It uses one of the most important powerful exercises in your mind, visualization. So if you just see something a lot, like I have mine hanging up in my kitchen, so I pass by it every day and I just look at it. So last year I created mine for junior achievement about all the things we learned, from like goal setting, networking with confidence, women in STEM, problem solving, and financial advice. And I just took things from magazines, I printed things out, I even drew things myself, just stuff that you want to look at and stuff that you know will help you envision your future. So it's really easy to do. So if anyone has any questions.
And so when you thought about making your vision board, um, what has it helped you this year when you take a look at it? Does it help you kind of remember what those goals are?
Definitely. I think seeing exactly what we learned last year just reminds me of all the basic necessities. Like there's so many simple things that you forget. So I think seeing it every day, just being confident, knowing your worth, like stuff like that is a lot of what we learn in, women's future leadership.
Excellent. Thank you, Dylan. Desiree, did I see your hand up? Did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I did. I have a question for Dylan.
Great.
I wanted to know, like, I've made a vision board before, and usually it's like really easy to like just pass it by and not really. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
To pass it by, and you won't really like instill it. Like, you'll just see pictures on a board and just keep walking by it. Do you have any tips on how to, like, when you see it, how to work better towards it and not just have like a bunch of pictures on a board that you never really refer back to for your goals?
Yeah, I could definitely relate, but I think if you just see it every day, you don't even know that you're thinking about it, but you just remember all the things that you put on your board. It's not like you have to think about it all the time, but I think seeing it helps. You might not know that it's helping, but it really is. I don't really think too much into mine, but I always have it in a place that I could see it, and it's really important. I don't think there's any like specific way that you could incorporate it into your daily routine other than just visualizing.
Thank you, Dylan. We had a couple, and Desiree, thank you so much for your question. Aaliyah had a question in the chat room, and we can open this to our volunteers as well. When to know if there's a specific long-term goal that you have, and if there's any other thoughts you have about making that one. And if there's a long-term goal that you have, Dylan, or maybe if there's a goal that you actually achieved this year as a result of your vision board, we'd love to hear that too.
Yeah, a lot of my vision boards, my family actually makes one every year for New Year's Eve. It's kind of like a little thing we do. But every year I always incorporate something about the career that I want to go into, which is physical therapy. And currently I'm applying for colleges. So it's a very stressful situation, but I think that with the things that I put on my vision board, like confidence, like I mentioned before, it's just getting me through it and reassuring me that it's not impossible. So,
Excellent. Dylan, thank you so much for making the time out of your busy schedule to join us. And congratulations again on being
thank you.
as a hero in your community. It's really extremely admirable. So, and good luck, and please put the Women's Future Leadership Academy on your college application. So,
Yes, thank you so much.
I'd like to say that's you've definitely built your skills. Would any of our other, I want to put it out to any of our volunteers. Any of our volunteers, have you ever had experience putting together a vision board, or is there a way that you something that you've done to help you remember your goals on a daily basis? Any of our volunteers want to add anything to that?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim. I do set many goals. So recently I graduated with my master's, and to go toward my next goal, which was to get my doctorate degree, I did create a small vision board, and I work from home. So this is my work and my homework section that I use. And back to what we were saying before, and how to make it more valuable when you have sort of a vision board, you have to consciously and unconsciously look at it. So consciously take a moment every day, 30 seconds even to a minute, look at it, look at your new pictures. Did you see anything that you would like to add to it? Did you find a picture in a magazine, go through a newspaper, even something online, a picture in your phone, like can you print it out, do something like that? And then unconsciously, while it's there, your brain actually sees it. It's just not completely focused on it. So it's sending signals into your brain, and you are getting them. So my goal was to go to my next step, find the right school, and by seeing it every day and not seeing it every day unconsciously, I found that I was on the phone making phone calls and interviewing schools and asking them the questions for this, which would be my best fit for this school. So my small board, it was on an 8x10 piece of paper. I put it right next to my other screen that I have here. I have my laptop and my little monitor next to it. And I just kept seeing it. And since I spent a lot of time in this room, it did help a lot. but to be honest with you, you just have to look at it and you have to visualize it and add to it. That was key. So I started with a few things and I added to it. And when it got filled, I found myself reaching out to find a solution for my goal and to get there. And now I'm in school again, loving it. Keep going, everyone.
That's such a great message. And we thank you, Kim, for sharing that. Sharon, I see your hand up. Anything you'd like to tell us?
Yes, first I want to say to Dylan, that was great, and congratulations. And we know you will have a successful future. But I was looking at some of the comments in the chat, and I'm going to say to the young ladies, you're in the right place today, because the vision board is that dream. So you have that, but now you're going to learn today about setting the goals to reach those dreams. And that goes back to the one that asked the question, how do you start to bring that into reality? Is doing what you're going to learn today, those steps that you're going to put down to just start tackling those things one by one. And as you get to see those dreams become reality, you're just going to be inspired to just keep going, and that'll be a great experience. So
Absolutely.
That's great. Thank you, Sharon. Appreciate that. David, I see your hand up. Welcome, David. I think you're muted, David. Sorry, we can't hear you. Sometimes if you go to the top, there's a little, you can have settings for sound. Yeah.
Hi, it's Audrey.
Hi, Audrey.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Hey,
David, we'll come back to you. Sorry about that.
Sorry, but no, I just wanted to say congratulations to Dylan. And I also wanted to just share how much I love vision boards as well. And I will say, not only do I do the pictures and everything else, but the last one that spoke was absolutely right. On the vision board, I have the steps that I need to take in order to get to that end result. So the pictures is usually like that final step that I look at. And you're right, you do have to look at the vision board each and every day, but more importantly, remembering your steps. And I use vision boards for whatever, when it comes down to work, my personal life, exercising, whatever it is. When I walk in the door and I look at that board, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know I gotta go, do some jumping jacks or something because it's on the vision board for today. So it's just a way to also plan. It's something else that I like to do, is just add those steps in there to get to that end result. So when I look back at the pictures, I can say, okay, this is the work that it took in order for me to get there. So I just wanted to share that.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate that. Thank you, Audrey. David, should we check your audio again? Let's see. No, I think, sometimes if you join with a phone and your computer, it gets weird. So I apologize. It happens, but that's okay. We're glad you're here, and we'll give you a chance to practice it again a little bit. All right, so then we'll continue here. So let's talk a little bit about taking those steps, what we can do next. So you heard some great advice from some of our student alumni, Dylan, and our great volunteer mentors who are here about translating those dreams into goals. So we've all have those big dreams, right? We think about big dreams that we have. For example, someday I want to go to the moon. That's my dream. And goals help us realize that dream because they're the steps between us and what you can imagine to be possible. Goals are different from dreams because they're more concrete and they're more achievable. So if your dream is going to the moon, think about what your goal is that'll get you to that dream. So for example, getting an A in physics, right? You know, if you want to go to the moon, you have to get an advanced degree. Getting into that college, the first step is getting an A in physics. So a good goal is specific and objective, so it's easy to see the results. And sometimes it's good, like you heard from our volunteers and from Dylan. We can focus on the short-term goals that can be accomplished in a short time, like a year. That makes it easier to break it down. So sometimes when we think about their goals, they seem so big that it's almost impossible to manage how we can accomplish them, especially if we're looking at something long-term. But when we break them down into those smaller achievable steps, we can take on new and sometimes scary things in smaller pieces. And this allows us to feel a little braver and makes it more likely that we won't give up. So let's talk about things that are scary. Now, as you've probably heard, if you have big goals, and I'm guessing at some of our students who are here, you've all got pretty big goals. And sometimes when you have those big goals, when you have those big dreams, it involves taking a risk, right? It involves taking a risk. And I know our volunteers, we've all taken risks to get to where we are. If we didn't take risks, we really wouldn't move forward. So when you think about taking risks, think about your comfort zone. Think about what your comfort zone looks like. For a lot of us, getting on this program here, getting on this Zoom, is a first step into getting outside your comfort zone. Turning on that camera, even for me, it takes us out of our comfort zone a little bit. So if you are out there and if you want to turn on your camera but are a little nervous, this is a really great, a safe space to do that. To turn on your camera, get out of your comfort zone a little bit. We're not going to force anyone to do that, but this is a good way to practice if you haven't done that. So when you organize your goal steps into 3 groups that are called risk zones based on how nervous they make us, it kind of helps us get a better idea of it. So comfort zone, it's easy to do, no problem. We do this all the time. It's very easy. Your low risk zone is something that makes you a little nervous, but not terrified. So a low risk is something that you might feel a little nervous to do, but you can do it. And then finally, your high risk zone, it makes you kind of nervous now that it's hard to imagine trying, but maybe you can, right? So those are our different risk zones. And as you know, you're not going to learn if you don't get out of your comfort zone a little bit. That's when we learn. The minute you get out of your comfort zone is when you learn and when you grow as a leader. And remember, this is important. We all have different comfort zones, and only you should decide what feels right for you. No one should force you to get out of your comfort zone. It has to come within you. You have to find the courage within yourself. No one else is going to force you to do it. So let's take a look at some examples of what a comfort zone could be. So when you take a goal and break it into risk zones, so say your goal is to be in your school play. Your comfort zone is talking to members of the drama club to find out what it's like. Your low risk zone would be talk to a drama teacher about what it takes to audition. So you might be a little nervous talking to a drama teacher, taking that first step, but you can do it. And then your high risk zone is actually going out there to audition, right? But you know, you're never going to be in the school play if you don't take that high risk comfort zone and audition, right? So that's kind of what it looks like if you're breaking it down. So the question is, are you ready to achieve your dreams? Having dreams is a thrilling part of growing up and imagining your own future. And making them a reality takes hard work and practice. This stuff is not easy, but we know that you can all do it. And when you have the skills to break your dream down into goals, into smaller steps, you'll create your own roadmap for success. So our roadmap for success, our vision board, that's what we're talking about now. So in a minute, we're going to get into our breakout rooms and do an activity. But before we wanted to do that, I'll check back in with our friend David and see if maybe your audio is working yet. David, what do you think?
Great. So let's try it now. How are we doing?
Oh, great.
Right,
Okay, David,
you.
great.
I was actually double muted, which is the deadly error of video conferences.
Yes.
All right. So what I wanted to share is another thought with regards to setting goals. Is another way to do it is to actually think about headlines that you would want to see in a newspaper a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. You set the time frame and the duration based on how big or long-term a goal it is. But maybe in a year from now, you might want to say, I want to be a freshman. Oh, I'll just choose Dylan since she spoke. Dylan will be a freshman at, I don't know, New York University, for example. And that might be your headline if that's where you're aiming for. And now you keep that headline in front of you and refer to it regularly. And every day think about, what am I doing today that's getting me closer and closer to make that headline a reality? And you don't need 20 headlines. You just need, a handful, 3, 4, maybe 5 headlines in terms of your goals. And I think that really helps keep a person on target, but make them real and exciting and fun headlines that you would actually want to see in the newspaper. That was my thought.
Excellent, and a good one. Thank you so much for sharing that, David. And we're so glad that you figured out your audio. It happens. I can't wait till we can all be in person, but until then, we have to do this stuff. So thank you so much for sharing. And so what we're going to do now is we are going to go into our breakout rooms, and this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to pause here, and I'm actually going to assign everybody to the breakout rooms. We have some great volunteers, and volunteers, I'm going to split you up into 3 different groups. So you'll have probably 2 other volunteers in your group, and probably maybe 5, 6 students, I want to say. And you're going to lead a conversation around goals. So what I'd like everybody to do right now, while I'm arranging those breakout rooms, is to either grab a piece of paper or think about it or put it down your phone or something, and think and answer these questions. And volunteers, you can do it too. So volunteers and students, we can all do this. We're going to map out a plan. So first of all, write down or think, what is a dream that you have? Okay, that's your first thing. What is a dream that you have? Next question, what can you do in the next year on your way to that dream? Right? Next question, what steps have you taken and will take to reach your goal, even if they're out of your comfort zone? And then the last question, what will be the next step you will take toward reaching your goal? So at the end of this conversation, we would like to have everybody answer that, have that next step ready that you're going to take. Okay, so that's the goal of our little conversations here. We would like everybody to have that answer. What's going to be the next step you will take towards your goal? So for example, if a dream that you have is to become a teacher, what can you do in the next year on your way to your dream? Well, you can do well on your SAT so that you can get into college, into the right college. What steps have you taken to reach your goal? Well, you can study hard for the tests. You can talk to teachers who are already in the profession, see what they think, or you could actually volunteer to teach a class yourself. And then the final thing, what will be the next step you will take? Maybe that's looking at different colleges that are good for teaching. So that's just an example, right? That's just an example. So I'm going to give everybody probably about 3 minutes. I'm going to keep this slide up. So students, volunteers, think about what are you going to be your answers to this. I'm going to put everybody in breakout rooms, and then we'll have our conversation in about 3 minutes.